everybody. I hope you're well and happy wherever you are. My name is Georgia Byng, and I am the author of the Molly Moon books. And I'm reading you Molly Moon's incredible book of hypnotism, a chapter at a time. We've got to chapter 15. And for you to look at today is this picture here by an artist called Joe Webb. I've had a few other pictures of him behind me. I don't know who he is, but he's a really good artist. And I think this picture quite suits this chapter because Molly's about to have breakfast, and now with all her hypnotism under her belt, she's rather hoping that the world is going to be on a plate for her. So here we go. Chapter 15. When Molly opened her eyes the next morning, the hotel room made her jump. The luxury of it was a shock. The cream carpet and heavy silk curtains made her feel as if she was in a chocolate advert. She tipped herself out of bed, opened the fridge and took out a heaven bar, singing the brand song as she ate it. I'm in heaven, heaven's in me. I knew I'd get to heaven eventually. Then she put on the toweling dressing gown from the back of the bathroom door. It was far too big for her, but warm and very soft, like the towels in the Cloud9 adverts, and she stepped out onto the balcony. This time to look at New York in daylight. The city buzzed away below and beyond. The buildings looked even bigger, and Manhattan seemed to stretch further. A massive billboard, hundreds of feet tall, was stuck onto the wall of a skyscraper. It was a giant picture of a woman wearing blue jeans and a denim jacket. Underneath it said, "Walk like a giant, wear diva jeans." The giant woman made Molly feel extremely small. An attack of butterflies gathered in her stomach. Since Briarsville, she'd been riding on a wave of glory, and with a spinning head, she'd made her bold plans and left the country. But now, in the morning light, Molly didn't feel quite as confident as she had done the day before. She realised that she knew nothing about this city or its inhabitants. She wasn't sure how to push herself forward. People in big cities were less friendly and less patient than country ones. She looked at the New Yorkers far below on the pavement who were walking along with determination and purpose. Very few of them were idling or stopping. Molly decided she must learn something about this place before she stepped out into it. But before she did anything, she had to have some breakfast. So she rang for room service. 15 minutes later, a very old, skinny waiter pushed a table on wheels into Molly's suite. It was laid with a white tablecloth, cutlery, and delicate white china plates, cups, and saucers. 2 shiny pots were beside 2 silver domes that concealed Molly's breakfast. The waiter handed Molly a piece of paper. "Sign here, please, madam," he said in a quaky voice. Molly looked at the slip. Her breakfast had cost $45. She signed. The waiter hovered by the door for a moment as if she had forgotten something. "Oh, thank you," said Molly. "Goodbye." The waiter left. He had, in fact, been waiting for a tip. Molly looked at the breakfast receipt again and cringed. A second attack of butterflies, great big Amazonian butterflies, filled her insides. She'd never had to spend money before, and now that she did, it made her panic. The main reason being that she was running out of it. She'd nearly spent all of her prize money, and she knew that the hotel bill was going to eat up the rest and more. She knew that hypnotising the receptionist into giving her the most expensive room at the Bellingham Hotel wasn't sensible, and she had no idea how she was going to pay for it. On top of this, She needed money for life in general, for little things like chewing gum, ice creams, candy floss and magazines. She couldn't go around New York hypnotising everyone for everything because sooner or later someone would see what she was up to, and then she would be in big trouble. And yet, Molly didn't know how to get any cash. She hadn't thought about it. Yesterday, £3,000 had seemed like a fortune. Molly's butterflies turned into tummy rumblings. Deciding to eat her breakfast and think about her dilemma, she lifted up the silver domes. One plate had a sausage on it. This was Petula's breakfast. The other had 4 ketchup sandwiches. In the little silver pot was some concentrated orange juice, which Molly poured into a glass. The big silver pot had hot chocolate in it. Soon Molly and Petula were eating with relish, but breakfast did nothing to inspire Molly as far as her money problem went. Molly bit her ketchupy lip and thought. She should approach this problem logically, she thought. She should look at the TV. Maybe that might help her. So putting down her breakfast and her new sunglasses on, she and Petula settled down for a marathon viewing session, particular attention being paid to the adverts. Molly learned some interesting things about how Americans lived. There was one ad about peanut butter where the peanut butter pot had a section that was full of jam, or jelly, as the mother on the advert called it. The lemon-haired lady was spreading peanut butter and jelly liberally onto a slice of bread. "It's a tradition that's been handed down our family for generations," she said, passing the sandwich to her wide-eyed daughter. "It was good enough for me when I was a kid." "And," said the girl, taking a bite, "it'll be good enough for my kids, too. Everyone loves Granny Sunshine's peanut butter and jelly." "Yuck," said Molly. "I don't. Makes me want to puke." And taking another slug of orange juice, she flicked the channel. She landed in a nature program. On the screen was a nest with 3 baby birds in it, all squawking for food. One chick in the middle was much bigger and noisier than the others. The commentator's voice explained, "The baby cuckoo has hatched in the robin's nest, and already it is growing faster than the robin chicks." The mother robin returned to the nest with a worm. But before the smaller robin chicks had had time to have a bite, the cuckoo chick snatched it. "It's amazing," continued the narrator, "how the mother robin thinks the cuckoo chick is her own. When the mother robin flies off, the cuckoo will enjoy itself." Indeed, that happened. And then with a firm movement, the cuckoo chick pushed first one baby robin chick and then the other out of the nest. Molly gasped. So, cuckoos really did push other birds out of the nest. Mrs. Trinkleby's lullaby rang in her head, making Molly feel uneasy. Was she like those baby robins? She felt more like the cuckoo, the way she'd pushed her way to winning the Briarsville loot. Mrs. Trinkleby's song had never made much sense to her. Now it made even less. With a little shudder, she switched channels. By lunchtime, Molly's eyes were feeling rectangular. She'd been surfing the channel for 3 hours and knew much more about America, but still she didn't have a clue about how she was making any money. And as for Rocky, Molly didn't know where to start looking for him. Like a helium balloon with a hole in it, her spirits were sinking lower and lower. Negative thoughts filled her mind. She must have been mad to come to America, stir-fried crazy to adventure to New York. Molly was beginning to feel that she had bitten off far, far more than she could chew. She got up and opened the minibar to get a drink. Inside were all sorts. Tiny bottles of whiskey, gin and vodka, and cartons of fruit juice, water, and Cube too. Be cool, drink Cube, sang the advert in her memory. Cube would help her. She certainly needed to cool down. She needed to be Cube cool. So she took a can and cracked it open. Minty, fruity bubbles fizzed up her nose as she swallowed, and as she glugged, the Cube ad came onto the television screen. It was quite something to be drinking her first full can of Cube at last, and to be watching the Cube crowd on TV at the same moment. Molly smiled. Hey, the world really looks better with a can of Cube in my hand, grinned the white-toothed man. Yeah, agreed Molly, drinking the rest of her can all at once and making a victory sign with her fingers at the man on the box. Suddenly, the world really did look better. Molly felt certain that everything was going to be all right. For a moment she felt just like one of the people on the screen. Then she burped and the feeling was gone. The ad switched to one about wood varnish. Molly was left with an empty can in her hand and lots of bubbles in her stomach. Molly was startled. She'd actually believed that a can of Cube could sort out her problems. Cube and its people. With Cube by her side, she'd felt sure she'd be more confident and able to charm the world. Instead of feeling cool, though, she felt hot and worried and deflated. Molly felt that her favourite ad people had betrayed her, and in a blinding flash she saw that her infatuation with them and their world had been madness. Why? They were completely unreal. As she watched the next ad, which was for plasters, featuring a boy with a grazed knee, Molly thought that maybe she should get some work as an actress. After all, those people in all the ads weren't real, they were actors. And there were certainly hundreds and hundreds of ads. There must be lots of work. Maybe she could even get a part in a Cube ad. As Molly toyed with this idea, a new program started. A man in an orange suit sat on a pink sofa with a huge, spongy microphone in his hand. Behind him, a large flashing sign said, Charlie Chat's Show. The man had a voice so deep that it sounded as if he gargled with gravel in the mornings. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, we have her here with us today. Please put yourselves up in spirit and put your hands together and give a very warm welcome to Broadway's newest star, Davina Nuttall. Molly was about to flip channels when she was surprised to see that Davina Nuttall was a small girl of about 8 or 9, wearing a lot of makeup. As she strode onto the stage, the audience whistled and clapped, and as she sat down with the red-haired interviewer, Charlie Chat, he boomed, Well, hi, Davina. It's just great to have you on the show. Hi, Charlie. It's just great to be here, came the sugar-sweet voice of Davina. So, Davina, let's get straight to the point. I'm sure everybody wants to know what it feels like to be the star of a Broadway musical. Oh, it feels just great, said Davina, smiling beautifully. I love the songs. I love the dancing. I love the story. I love the other actors. I love the audiences. And I love being in Manhattan. You must have a great big old heart for all that love, said Charlie, and the audience laughed. Well, it's all great, and everyone should come and see the show. Davina turned to the audience and beamed out a huge, persuasive grin. Her face gave Molly a jolt. She looked a bit like Hazel. "Let's see some of it," said Charlie Chatt. On came a sequence of clips. First there was a picture of the entrance of a grand theatre with the title of a show, Stars on Mars, written above in neon lights. A slinky black car pulled up outside and Davina Nuttall in a fur coat got out of it. Then the picture cut to some film of the show. The stage set looked like the surface of the planet Mars, full of big red rocks and really spacey. Davina Nuttall was dressed in a red astronaut suit and was tap dancing and singing. It was a space musical. More clips were shown of other parts of the show, one where 4 large Mars monsters tried to attack Davina Nuttall. Petula dropped the stone she was sucking and growled at the Martians. The chat show audience clapped, and Molly felt some of the thrill she'd felt on the Briarsville stage when her audience had applauded her. "My goodness, that certainly was something," said Charlie.
"Thank you. You know, I owe just about everything to my caring, wonderful, self-sacrificing mom and dad."
"Ah," said the audience.
"And?"
"Yes, and," said Davina, "to my manager, Barry Bragg."
"Oh, yes, I thought so," said Charlie Chatt. "And here he is."
On the screen appeared a man with a central parting and combed down gelled hair. He had red cheeks and wore a checkered suit and a pair of red spectacles.
"Hi there, Davina and Charlie," he said.
"Hi, Barry,"
cried Davina Nuttall.
"Hi, Barry. So, Barry, everyone here wants to know, how did you discover Davina?" "Well, she just walked straight into my Manhattan offices in Derry Street," said bow-tied Barry enthusiastically, "and she bowled me over. You know how she sings and dances. Well, she just came into my offices and she sang and danced around the room like the little piece of magic that she is. It was obvious to me that she was going to be a star, so I introduced her to the director of Stars on Mars, and, well, a hit and a half later, here we are."
Davina laughed, shaking her golden locks playfully.
"My lucky stars were out the day I met you, Barry." She turned to Charlie Chatt. "I mean, Barry knows everyone in show business."
The program continued, and Molly watched bright-eyed people come and go. Molly thought she really did fancy being an actress for a bit, but not in the adverts. They seemed very superficial compared to singing and dancing in front of a live audience. She'd enjoyed all that adulation and applause on the stage in Briarsville. She'd like to experience it again. She bet actors like Davina got paid a lot. Perhaps this manager, Barry Bragg, would be a good person for Molly to meet. Acting would be a challenge, but Molly felt sure she could rise to the occasion, especially with her new skills. And what had Rocky said? That she never tried at anything? She would prove him absolutely wrong. She got up and stretched. Petula did the same. Molly felt as if she'd found a solution. This Barry Bragg, whose office was in Derry Street, wherever that was, could help to sort her out. As she got dressed, she hummed along to a number from Stars on Mars. It really was a catchy tune, and Molly thought what fun it must be to star in a Broadway show. Molly put on her T-shirt and her old holey jumper. She pulled on her worn-out short grey skirt. She brushed her curly hair, and she looked at her peculiar face in the mirror, wrinkling her potato nose in her reflection. She locked her hypnotism book in the room safe, and then she grabbed her thin anorak and whistled to Petula. Come on, Petula. Let's go and get a slice of the action. With her own destiny at the front of her mind and leaving all thoughts of Rocky behind her, Molly left the hotel room. And that's where we've got to. Well, I've got hair in my mouth. So much hair. We got to the end of chapter 15 there. I hope you liked it. I hope you're really well still and keep well and keep happy. And if you do try to hypnotize anybody, happy hypnotizing. Until next time, goodbye.